Greetings everyone, I'm Prince B, coming at you once again with more Amiibo to unbox. Today we have Dankey Kong. So, in terms of my familiarity with Dankey Kong as a character, I never really played any of his games, with the exception being the original Donkey Kong arcade game where you actually play as Mario, and I didn't even play that as like the arcade game. I played that as one of the little NES mini games in Animal Crossing for the GameCube. So in terms of Donkey Kong, he's never been super high on my priority list just because I had no experience with him. But then like a few weeks ago, my friend that game so much that he actually bought me a copy because he insisted that I play it. So he got me a copy and insisted that I played it, and I'm not going to get into my thoughts on that here just because I might do a review later down the line on it. But it did get me interested enough that I went and picked up a Donkey Kong Amiibo, had to import it. And so now here we are finally ready to open Donkey Kong. I actually did briefly, after I started collecting Amiibo, I mean there was plenty of opportunity before I started collecting, but briefly, right after I started collecting, I did find one single Donkey Kong at my local Best Buy. And wouldn't you know, it wasn't listed as like super rare or hard to find at the time, so I just passed on it and I figured, oh, I'll come back to it later. Of course, I did the same thing with Kirby, and look what happened to him. That was the very last time I ever saw a Donkey Kong Amiibo, and oops. I've done that so many times now that now it's just like, ugh, oh well, I'll just get them all the day they come out, right? Except Animal Crossing ones, because those are always going to dirt cheap. So anyways, here's Donkey Kong, punching Samus over here in the little picture thing. I've actually been forgetting to even look at those, so I like missed half of them, but that's just kind of funny. Let's get started with Donkey Kong here, who I don't have too much experience with, but we'll open him anyways. Actually, back in Melee, Donkey Kong was one of the characters I thought was like super good because his ground pound move, and how it just, you could just constantly ground pound for like ever, especially since I had a turbo controller. I thought Donkey Kong was just like one of the best characters, like young Prince B, best characters. Roy, who had a fire sword, which makes him stronger than Marth. Mewtwo, because he's Mewtwo. Donkey Kong, because of infinite ground pounds. And Kirby, because he could turn into a stone and become invincible. That was pretty much as far as my childlike logic went. Donkey Kong, OP because of ground pounds. Not really, in reality, he's not that great, but here he is. Let's take a look at the Amiibo. First thing that immediately pops to my mind before anything else is the seams on his mouth are absolutely hideous. It's just as visible on the other side, if not more so. It's unfortunate because that is just really visible. I think that might have been another reason why I kind of passed on the one that I saw. I was just kind of like, yeah, it's kind of gross, and thinking that it was common to find Donkey Kong, I was like, oh, I'll just find a better one. But no, he's got these ugly seams on his mouth where the two pieces of plastic are joined together. Another thing, this stand is kind of really bulky. I get why, because he's in a really awkward position. But the fact that it's that weird semi-transparent clear, not fully clear, but not colored like a lot of the other ones, it's led to some jokes on the internet, unfortunately, for poor Donkey Kong here. But he got the last laugh because now he's impossible to find in stores in like the US, so there's that. Let's take a look at some of the better things about the figure, though. This fur texture, really good, especially since he's a Wave 1 figure, I want to say. 1 or 2, I don't remember off the top of my head, but he's one of the earlier figures. So he's actually really detailed for how early he came out in terms of his fur texturing. Jeez, just that seam is just so unfortunate. I can't get over it. And his tie's pretty good. I like he's got a good sense of movement about him. Whether or not that makes for a great amiibo in terms of build, due to needing supports and what have you, that's up for debate. But he does look pretty just like he's actually mid movement, which is cool. Like I said, I'm not sure that necessarily works out well, but it's cool to note. And the tie helps add to that. Just the way it's like just kind of flowing off to the side, it works. And they went to the trouble. The DK on the tie looks good. His eyes, they kind of look like he's just kind of like he. I don't know. At this position, his eyes just kind of look like he was in the middle of like walking to go sneak something out of the fridge, and then someone saw him, and he's like, "Oh, don't say anything." It's just kind of weird. Uh, overall, not seeing any real paint bleeding aside from that. Well, maybe a little on his lip, which is weird because I don't know why he'd have paint bleed on his lip. Looks more like maybe it was just like cut awkwardly or something. Not quite sure. Overall, I wouldn't say he's one of the better figures. In fact, maybe one of the worst ones, just because that horrible seam, the derpy looking eyes, and the big bulky support. But I mean, the fur texture is fantastic. I do like the tie. He's got some redeeming qualities, and he does still look better than his Skylander counterparts. So I mean, there's that at least. So that's Donkey Kong. Thanks for watching as always, and I'll see you guys next time with some more Amiibo to unbox. Prince B signing out.